So I had a moment yesterday where I realized something that I have recognized before within myself, but it just kind of came together yesterday again, or maybe more completely than it has other times. And I just wanted to have a quick chat about it, see if I can mine any more nuggets out, or if that's just kind of what it is. But I think as much as it is important to recognize, I think the thing that's important is to recognize, know thyself, which we've talked about. That's the thing. Know thyself and recognize your strengths and your weaknesses. Sometimes what are seen as weaknesses are just the way that you do things. And sometimes that's just the way it's going to be. But you have to continue to put in that work to be like, is this a thing I can change? Is this a thing that can get better? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it can only get a tiny bit better, and it can't get a lot better. And that's not an excuse for poor behavior. It is a way for you to view yourself, understand yourself, and recognize what you can change, what you can't change, how much can you change a thing, etc. Specifically, what I'm talking about is that it seems as part of possibly anxiety that I recognize negativity before positivity. I recognize that I see a lot of negativity before I see positivity. And my mind seems to gravitate there. And you know, being told your whole life that you are more negative is not helpful. And just being like, think positive. Like, that's not a switch you can just turn on and off. And being realistic is what I believe I am. This kind of goes into last week's conversation about genius, only because I described my anxiety as a gift if I use it the right way, and over-analysis is a lot of practiced analysis that is detrimental if it's not reined in. But you can harness that and make it a very useful skill to have. Being realistic comes with this label of being negative, because I think that if you, let's say you have a goal, let's say you're going on a trip, and that the goal of the trip is just to have fun, relax, take some time to recharge, things like that. And you can do that in a lot of different ways, and you make plans and whatever else. However, the realism part is that we need to prepare for a lot of things that could go wrong. So my mind focuses, it's interesting because I'm expressing, well, we better be prepared because what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And you can't prepare for every scenario. So there's a line where it is advantageous, and then another line, or the same, I guess you cross the line into detrimental at a certain point of being like, this is not healthy or helpful to think of all the possibilities ever. Anyway, so the realistic part is taking as much things into account. You acknowledge, yeah, things could be great. This trip could be fantastic. I hope it is. I want it to be. But I need to focus on the things that I can do to make that happen. I need things that I can prepare. I could prepare certain ways to pack, certain things to pack, a contingency plan if something happens at whatever, the hotel you're staying at, or to make sure that I have a spare tire, or to make sure that, oh, I don't know, it's kind of dicey. What if the gas station isn't open when we get to that one spot in the middle of nowhere? Maybe I should pack extra gas, like whatever. Depending on your trip, there's different things you could do in order to ensure success. But that involves focusing on the negative aspects. Anyway, this is going off the rails. The point is, I find that when I'm really stressed especially, I've got a lot of feelings, a lot of negative feelings. I need to completely purge that. I need to express that. I need to get it out of my system, because naturally it seems that I have somewhat of a predisposition, but also, which is probably much more than the nature part, and maybe it's very little nature, it's hard to tell, but I have nurtured a culture within myself of seeing and feeling the negative first, and the anxiety taking off, and just being like, all this crap could happen, and it's horrible, and everything sucks, and this could happen, and then this leads to this, and then this leads to this, and then that. And you just completely start derailing. You get hooked in by anxiety and just snowball, and it sucks. So I, over years and years and years of not even recognizing my own anxiety, have nurtured or created a culture within myself where usually the first things I think of in a lot of situations are how things are going to negatively impact me if something happens. And I've been trying in the past, 6 years to focus on what is it, or 5 years, I don't even know how long I've been here anymore, 5 years. What is it that I can do to, whatever, to not be as anxious, or to focus on positivity more, things of that nature. And that's really difficult. Again, I have to recognize this is a thing that is there for me. It doesn't mean I don't want to change, but how do I deal with it in the meantime while I'm trying to slowly fix things like having a gratitude journal, seeing the positive more, being grateful, and all those things that I can maybe slowly start to shift things for me overall to try to get to the positive instantly instead of the negative, while maintaining realism. I find a lot of positivity just ignores aspects that you should be including, and that's not good. To see the full picture in order to plan appropriately for things. But while I'm doing that, while I'm slowly trying to implement changes in my life and create new habits, and thus create new synapses that fire differently and just like think differently and feel differently, while I'm doing that, I can recognize, okay, I am feeling a lot of negativity right now. What do I need to do? What I need to do is express it. I need to do that. And when I'm able to purge all that out, I find, okay, now I'm almost at a blank slate. Now I can see all the positives. Now I have a perspective where I can see what I can do differently, what I can do better, and how I overreacted, or how I was feeling this too much, or I wasn't looking at the positives of this situation because there were negatives. And so for right now, what I need to do is just like dump the negativity as soon as I can, not ignore it, and not say, oh, you should just be more positive, like why, and just, beat myself up about it. No, I'm feeling that negativity. It's weird to say embrace it, but embrace the fact that these are my feelings. Validate my feelings. This is what I am feeling. And let's dump it. And now we're started with, okay, I've expressed how I feel. Now I'm in a place where I can have a different perspective. now I can focus on what do we do now, or I've dumped all the negativity out. Now there's only room for the rest, because the negativity was taking up too much space mentally and emotionally for me to even recognize that, oh, it's actually not that bad, or this is what I can learn from this scenario, etc.